All right now. Good morning. It is October 9th, 2023, and this is my Dr. Tread TV live radio TV program. And I try to do these definitely at least every Tuesday from 9 to 10 o'clock, but we'll get better and better at producing them, and there'll be more content. So if you're interested in tuning in, you can sign up at my YouTube channel. It's right now it's Slim Body Laser Spot at gmail.com. And it's also called DRTREDTV.live, which is not running yet, but it's getting there. We're getting close. So if you'd like to get onto this email, just send us an email to the spa at slimbodylaserspot at gmail.com, and we will hook you up and get you into the Facebook feed or the YouTube feed or any way that you can. And I'm going to try to keep this information light and fun and super important for you. A little bit about myself, if you haven't tuned in ever before. My name is Dr. Tread and I come from a family of chiropractors, actually. My dad had practiced for 50 years before I even got out of college. I'd always wanted to be a chiropractor when I was a kid growing up. I watched my father take care of our friends and family, and I was always admired at his ability to help people and how important it was for people who believe in natural things, natural healthcare. So when I had the opportunity to get off to college, and my parents helped me out with that, I decided to become a chiropractor. It was a good move on my part. I really enjoy it. I've been in practice now for 34 years. And chiropractic has been like my family, my patients, the people I took care of. I still see many, many of those people today, and some of them are my dearest friends. You really make some really long-lasting relationships when you're a chiropractor. And so, here I am, almost 34 years in practice, and I'm no longer doing as much neck and back care anymore. I found some hope in my own life of getting better with my extra body fat I was carrying around. And I didn't realize how devastating it was to your health. I really had thought that eventually we would, as most people are, as we put on these extra pounds, that, I'm just not ready to lose it yet. It isn't that it's going to be difficult. I'm just not willing to give it up yet. Right? That's a lot of you, how you feel. And I used to feel the same way. And, it kind of creeped on me slowly over time. And what I really didn't understand at the time, and I'm hoping to share that with you here, is that the longer I kept that body fat on, even 10 or 15 pounds or 8, 9, 10 pounds overweight, I had no idea of how much it would affect my metabolism, my overall biomarkers, these numbers such as your blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, your triglycerides, your resting caloric intake, how many calories you burn at rest, your ability to repair tissue, your ability to sleep properly. And I had no idea that this extra body fat was going to affect all of these parameters of my life and my health. I really was not aware of it. In fact, I was just thinking about when I first started to have pain in my heel. I've suffered with plantar fasciitis since my 30s. And plantar fasciitis is basically on the underneath of your foot, on the the instep of your foot, the part you stand on. You've got your arch. You got your arch of your foot. When someone has flat feet, they have a fallen arch. Well, your arch is held together by the ligament, which attaches to your heel bone, your calcaneus, and it goes up and it spreads out to your beneath the metatarsal phalangeal joints, which is in your foot. And it's called the spring ligament because it actually is what holds the curvature in your foot. When you see that curve in your foot, that's because there's a ligament between those two. And what happened to me was I had started to put on weight in my 30s, and I saw it was coming on, and I was very active, and my only tool I had at that point was strenuous exercise. I mean, eating was not something I was willing to back off on. And since exercise worked for me when I was younger, in other words, to get the weight off, why change your habits if it's working? And however, I was working in my chiropractic practice. Things became very busy. It was much busier than when I took over, and I didn't have time. And I really don't like going to the gym. I'm not going to lie to you. The gym and me and lifting metal off the ground in front of a bunch of people I'd never met or know is just not something I'm super attuned to do. But I like tennis, and I like racquetball, and I like swimming, and I like jogging, and there's a lot of other things I like to do that don't involve going to the gym. Well, one of them was I enjoyed tennis. I was a pretty good tennis player when I was younger. I played on the high school tennis team here in Martin County, and tennis has been where I would cut a lot of weight playing tennis. So I was 35 years old, and I knew I needed to do something. I was in New York, and it's cold there. So I joined an indoor tennis court, an indoor tennis club. And I got right into the beginner intermediate league. I had some skills. And as I took some lessons, and I started playing tennis a lot. I was playing, 3-4 times a week. I'd play for an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours. And as I started getting better at it, I started competing with other people within the club. Well, as I'm running around overweight, I end up bruising my heel. I hurt my left foot, basically running on a big fat boy running. And because I'm playing tennis, I'm really stretching it to the end. I don't want to miss that shot. I want to maintain my ranking. So I'm working extra hard at moving my body. So my mind is telling me you can do it, go for it. Yet my body's ability to repair itself and to be strong had been hampered because I hadn't been exercising, probably 6, 7, 8 years, after I got out of college. I had to work a lot. So it was 4 or 5 years of where I really just didn't exercise. And now, being out of shape and running at the tennis court, I bruised my heel. I hit it. I stepped hard on it. I remember when I did it. And that heel started to it would not heal. I mean, the heel wouldn't heal. Imagine that. And what happened was I had strained the ligament where it attaches to my heel. And what would happen was during the day, it wasn't so bad. It didn't bother me that much. I was careful, but I still thought it would go away. And at night, when I lay down to go to sleep and I wake up in the morning, the pain was horrific. I mean, as soon as I go to step on my foot on that heel, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like hopping on one foot. It hurts. And then as the day went on, it started to get a little better. And that was going on for some time. At the same time, I ended up bruising my other heel also, because it doesn't hurt in the daytime. It's at night when it reattaches that it hurts. So now I've got this chronic pain in my heel, which is getting better during the day. At night, I don't even feel it, but in the morning, it's like a 10. Like somebody stabbing a hot poker in my bottom of my heel. So I needed to know what was happening. So, I have access to x-ray, and I had one of my doctors take an x-ray of my foot, and I looked from the side, and I had developed a heel spur. And the heel spur is really the description of a ligament which is being pulled away from the heel bone, your calcaneus. The ligament got bruised, and then what happens is it starts to get pulled away from the heel bone itself. But at night, when you go back to sleep, you point your feet forward and you take the pressure off of that ligament, and it starts to reattach. It's a broad ligament. It's not like a pencil. It's a broad ligament, almost like a ribbon. And that, when you look at it on an x-ray from the side, it looks like a spur, but it's really a broad ligament like my fingers. And at night, it would start to reattach, form some calcium, and then you'd walk on it, and basically you'd injure it again and again and again. And that's how you form the heel spur, because at night it reattaches, little calcium gets laid out, which is a healing process. And then just standing on it in the morning, you pull it apart and it hurts again. And then it's just this nightmare. Well, this problem did not go away. And I mean, it got worse and worse. And I remember it eventually affected my whole leg. It went up into my calf and up into the front of my leg. And I mean, to tell you, I was miserable. I couldn't even do a consultation without sitting on the bench next to a client to sit down to get the weight off my feet. I had a stool that I put in the dark room because, you know, we develop a lot of x-rays, and I was the one that had to feed them in the machine. And I couldn't wait to get in that room just to sit down. Now I'm on my feet all day long, adjusting people, tugging, pulling, bending over. And it started to become a real problem. And I didn't understand that much about why it was, how it reattaches at night at that point, but I knew that something was going on. And so I did a little research on it. And before I really did it, I went to a podiatrist. And the first thing they wanted to do was put me in this really expensive instep, you know, like some kind of foot thing you put in your shoe. And I'm like, you know, I can't wear, I go to the beach, I go out on the boat. I'm not going to wear this thing all the time. If that's going to be the cure for me, this is going to be a problem with compliance. This is just no way am I going to wear that thing everywhere you go. I tried it, and it really actually made it worse. It hurt a lot worse. It was like putting something like a ball underneath the instep, and it hurt. So that was not going to happen. And I went back to the podiatrist, and they recommended an injection. Now, yeah, you don't know me very well. I'm not scared of injections. I like to refuse them. To me, you got to really have a great reason to have an injection. Well, let me tell you, I was in enough pain over that foot that I was ready for something to change. I needed to do something. And that was my first and my only corticosteroid injection I'd ever had. And I'm telling you, when they stuck that needle in my foot into that tender area, oh my God, I held on. It was like, I was just trembling from it. It hurt so bad. And he's like, it'll go away. I got some Novocaine in that. Don't worry, doc. It's not going to get better. It'll get better. Well, that thing didn't do nothing but make it worse. I swear to God, my pain went from a manageable to an unmanageable. And I wasn't going back for another one of those things. So I started doing a little more research on these heel spurs. And there was something that said that if you just leave it alone, you don't hurt it, stop bruising it, stop using it, it will get better on its own. The problem with why it's not getting better is at night, we lay down and we point our toes forward. And that forward pull allows the ligament to reattach to the heel. And then when you go to get up in the morning, when you step on it, it pulls it away again. So one of the things they recommended was casting or booting your foot. And it would be like for 6 to 8 weeks, a cast. And I read about that and I thought about it, but they also had a recommendation of what they call a plantar fasciectomy. Now, this is where they go in surgically and they cut away the ligament where it's attaching to the heel spur. That spur, they grind it down and then they reattach by casting it so that ligament is reattached to the bone, and then they put you in a cast for 4 to 6, well, longer than that, 6 to 8 to 12 weeks in the cast. Again, so you don't keep re-injuring it. So with that information, I started realizing that I had to get off this thing. I needed to support it somehow. And I bought a really strong, like a good workout boot. I thought that would help, and that didn't help. And so what happened is I ended up taping my foot, and I ended up taping both feet. Now, the taping was a miracle for me. It worked really, really well. And then, of course, I bought the night splint so I could stretch my heel. I started working on my hamstrings to get some flexibility back in there. I did massage, and I used ice massage on my heel spur by pushing that. It was like almost like a Dixie Riddle cup with ice on one side, and then you do the ice massage. You can also take a golf ball and put it on the ground and kind of roll it under your instep of your foot, to kind of stretch it and massage it. But the taping was really, really effective. And the taping that I used was a cloth tape. It's not like an ace bandage that stretches. It has no stretch to it. And it's white, and it's about 2 inches wide, inch and a half wide. And what you do with that, and I can't really show you here because I don't have the ability to put my foot up in front of the camera, but basically you're going to take the tape and wrap it around the ball of your foot 2 or 3 times, and that's an anchor. And then you take the piece and you start from the ball of your foot and you bring it back around the heel and then crisscross it back to the front. And you make 5 or 6 of those. You put the tape on by the ball of the foot, bring it around the back of the heel, and then crisscross it to the other side. And then once you have 4 or 5 of those, then you're going to put an anchor around the front to hold the front piece in. And that, my friends, takes the pressure off the heel. So when you tape it and you go to walk on it, now you're not pulling on the ligament anymore. You're pulling on that tape. That gave me instant relief, better outcome. I said, I have a shot here. Well, I taped my foot for over a year, every day. Every day I taped it. I was able to tape it and put on like a deck shoe, and I could go swimming and I could go in the water with it because the tape didn't come off. So I was able to go to the beach. I was able to wear it with my dress shoes. You always take the tape off at night. Of course, it starts to reattach, and then but then you tape it in the morning right away. That worked really well for me. All right, so that was how I handled this original part of this heel spur. But do you know what caused it? What caused it was the fact that I was obese, and I started trying to treat my obesity by running and jumping, and my body, I hurt myself is what happened. Well, that injury has lasted me many, many years, and I'm in my 60s now, and I still suffer from that original injury, believe it or not. And I suffer now in the form of neuropathy. And the doctor, my new podiatrist, who, I told him about this history of having these really bad heel spurs, and and he's like, well, you still have them, they're not gone. Well, how come I don't feel them? He says, well, you have numbness, you don't feel them anymore. So yeah, and so I'm only sharing this story with you because I know many of you out there are listening to this message as you're overweight, and you are, and you have this extra body fat on, and you don't like how you look, you don't like how you feel. Your family is telling you, you got to do something. The clock is ticking. You're getting closer and closer to what we call D-Day, death day, because everything is stressed with all that body weight, all that body fat. And yet most of you, just like me, the only tool that I've ever really had when it came to weight loss is exercise. Just exercise more. Don't worry about the food. And that's called the gift of youth, right? As I get older, and I tried to use the exercise routine when I was already becoming fairly portly, getting overweight, my body wasn't able to handle the extra pull with the weight and not being conditioned like I was most of my life. I was very conditioned. I never went a couple days without doing something strenuous, exercising, skateboarding, playing tennis, racquetball. I did it every day. And then I took that 3 or 4 years off in college and the 3 years in my office. And then when I started exercising, I hurt myself. And it was devastating. I didn't fracture anything, but that's what happened. And so today I'm here to share, a message with you. And that is if you're overweight, and you know if you are, you know who you are, uh, your chances of overcoming and getting back from this thing are really, really slim to really make the changes that are necessary very easily. And it will require more than just exercise, people. I mean, there are people that do it with exercise, don't get me wrong, but they're far and few between. They're usually people that have exercised their whole lives up to that point. So they're still exercising. But if you're somebody who was active when you were younger and you've had a 10-year hiatus or 15 years where you just haven't been that active, your muscles and your ligaments have been shortened. They're under stress. They're under a lot of pressure. And when you start to exercise, you better start slowly. Don't think that you can run out and, go jumping up and down like a jumping jacks. You're not in that situation. I know of another patient client of mine. And when, as we're growing older together, we're all growing older. Everybody's kind of dealing with the same problems, the same weight issues, the same desire to lose weight and be healthy. And what happened was she was somebody who had always maintained a fantastic figure and shape her whole life. I mean, she's been a size 0 to maybe a 1 or a 2, well into her early 30s. And what happened was she had a hysterectomy. She had some cells that were changing on an examination, and they felt that it could be cancerous, and they actually did a total hysterectomy. Well, a partial. They left some of her ovaries, but as a result of that loss of normal hormonal influence, she started to develop weight gain that was predominantly in her hips, her legs, and her stomach because of it's an endocrine disruption. This is from the sex hormones being changed. And beautiful face, no weight in the face, arms were good, legs for the most part were beautiful, but around the midsection, she looked like the Michelin Man. And so her number one skill is not eating, but she wants to lose weight, and that's not healthy, or exercising. But she hadn't exercised since she was in her 20s. So she's got this 12 to 13-year hiatus, but remembered when she was younger, all she had to do was play soccer and she would lose weight. So this friend of mine decided to join the soccer league, and it was for moms. It was the mommy soccer league. And everybody's in their 30s and 40s. Nobody's ancient there. Well, she's having fun. I mean, she's running, she's picking, she's, getting involved. She always was very competitive. And for the first week or so, she felt really good about it and things were getting better. And somehow she had stepped funny on an edge where the turf is. And basically, she fractured her foot, her instep of her foot. And that fracture happened right away, ended up x-rays, and then she was in a cast. And you could imagine what happened to all of her weight loss goals. Right out the window they went. Because now, now she's in a boot. Now she's in a cast. And despondent about it. Not very happy. Thought she maybe had a shot doing the soccer, and then she hurt her foot. Well, that history went on to be somebody who then, what we were doing at the time was HCG had just come around, just like all these other drugs, Fen-Phen, Ozempic. None of them have any real merit as far as maintaining and sustaining weight loss. They're crash weight plans. They have a purpose to get the weight off, regardless if it's muscle or water. They don't care that it's not fat. And what happened is HCG was the happening thing at the time. Okay. And they were doing it injections in your belly, or you were doing it in under the tongue. Okay. Well, she did the injection one, and the HCG, she dropped 24 pounds in like 20 days. I mean, it was what HCG does, but it wasn't sustainable. You can't live on a 500 calorie diet eating these little wafers, these little crispy wafers and a half an apple. I mean, that's the HCG diet. When we were doing it, it was 500 calories, super low calorie diet. And they said that your body is HCG is causing you to burn fat that you normally would store as if you were pregnant, and all that stuff has never been proven. It's never been measured. And yes, the weight came off quickly. However, soon as she stopped, within 6 weeks, all the weight came back and an extra 5 pounds. So what a bummer. I tried the HCG right about the time she did. And I'll tell you, I was not going to be someone who was not going to do it properly. I was going to make sure that I got it right and I didn't put the weight back on. And I lost 21 pounds in 30 days on that HCG. And I was doing the injection. This happened in 2008, I believe it was 2006. Actually, it was way before that. Yeah. And I was happy, but the HCG put a certain odor about me. It smelled kind of funky, and people would smell it like, you smell like you're sweating or something, doc. I'm like, maybe I am. I don't know. This hormone's got me a little jacked up. I said, burning fat or something. And anyway, I couldn't maintain the I didn't even come close to the 500 calorie, by the way. I was 800,000 calories. And after I stopped the HCG, I lasted 6 weeks. About 4 weeks, it started to come back on. By the 6th to 7th week, I got it all back on. And I was adamant about getting it off, and I was going to do it again. And, something changed. And I said, maybe this isn't really where I see myself. Hold on one second. All right. So I said to myself, I don't know what, I just can't see doing this again. So I did fasting, and I did some juice fasting, and I started exercising a little bit more than I normally did, but it was really slow to happen. And at that point, I was introduced to a laser, a cold laser, a laser which is designed for therapy, for pain relief, and to reduce inflammation. And it also is biostimulatory. And I know that sounds complicated to you, but light, red light, and near infrared and far infrared light, which is a spectrum. When you look up at the sun, don't look directly at it, but if you look at a rainbow, you see those colors, and the reds and the purples and the near infrared, those wavelengths, when you shine them on somebody's body that's been injured or hurt, the body repairs itself very quickly compared to not shining the light on it. In other words, light at certain wavelengths, meaning colors, and power densities, how much power, can be really, really beneficial at healing and repairing tissue damage. I mean, like nothing I have ever seen or experienced. Healing is up to God. Okay. Your nature is what heals the body. It is, you can give it the right nutrients. You can remove the poisons and the toxins that might be affecting the healing process. You could counsel somebody on taking better care, resting, eating the right foods. But brother, there is nothing that will speed up the healing process. This light energy speeds up the healing process. Okay. It is, just amazing. I can't tell you how enthralled I was by it. This handheld flashlight that nothing was really, you couldn't even see the light coming out of it because it's not a flashlight. It's infrared. It's invisible to your eye. But everybody's got to wear funky glasses to protect your eyes from the light. And young chiropractor introduced it to me back in 2008. It was covering my office, and he said, "What do I do when someone's in a lot of pain? Do you have a laser?" And I'm like, "A laser? Why would I have a laser? I'm not going to cut anybody's foot off." Or he goes, "No, they're not. It's not a hot laser." He says, "It's a cold laser." I never even heard of that. I said, what does a cold laser mean? How could it be cold? He says, well, it's a power output that's cool. It can't burn tissue. It won't burn. It's, excuse me, therapeutic. It helps tissues to heal faster and reduce inflammation and reduce pain every time you shine it and apply it properly. And I'm like, okay. I mean, so does I can reduce inflammation by putting ice on somebody. I can, why do I have to get a laser? Well, I was in for what a journey I've been on when I realized it. And so what happened is this doctor that worked for me, who was just a kid, he said, this is what they're teaching in chiropractic colleges. And he said, it's going to revolutionize opiate addiction because it's an alternative to people that are on opiates and people that are having injections and chronic pain, that this procedure, this process is absolutely rocking very effectively on helping people with chronic pain conditions. Now, I've never really had chronic pain in my life. That heel spur was the closest I've ever come to chronic pain. And it made me miserable. I was tired. I was short-tempered. I was not happy where I was. I mean, the pain was terrible. And I thought to myself, if people are, taking these pills and having injections because of chronic pain and having this device that a chiropractor can use, which is safe and can heal tissue, I mean, let's try it out. Let's check it out. And that's exactly what I did. I talked to the kid and he gave me a website of a machine that he used. It was called the Microlight, the ML830, and 830 is for the color of the white of the light, which doesn't mean much to you, but it's 830 nanometers. My red lights are 628 today. Anyway, I got that laser, man. I bought it. It was $3,500. It came in a box, and it had a pair of funky glasses that everybody had to wear that turned it on. And it had the button on it, and you had to hold the button down for the machine to stay on. So when you treated it, you had to hold that button, which was difficult, believe it or not, holding the button. And it would go for 33 seconds. And there's only three little laser diodes. And you turn it a notch and hold it another 33 seconds. And then you turn it another 1/3 and you hold it for another 33 seconds. Well, after 99 seconds of holding that button down, my hand developed a cramp. And I'm thinking, I hope I don't have to do this the rest of my life, because this is hard to hold this little button down. But it required that. So as I got better at using it, we figured out other ways to bypass the button. However, that was my introduction to my first cold laser handheld treatment process. And to tell you it worked would be an understatement. It was, I tell you, I remember that little commercial they have with Mr. Clean. It's called the Magic Eraser. It's a little rubber sponge and it magically erases everything off the table. Well, that laser was my eraser, my magic wand that removed pain and inflammation without any knowledge from me as to why it was working. I didn't understand it at all. I knew it didn't hurt. It wouldn't create any problems, but I just didn't see how light could make these kind of changes. I mean, light's all around us, right? Every day I'm in the light. Why isn't it healing me now? Well, I had a lot to learn about it. And so what happened was I got it and I started shining it on every single person that would let me do it. I'm a chiropractor. I got a lot of people with a lot of pain, knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain, chronic arthritis, swollen joints, heel spurs, you name it. We see it all the time. And I would ask them, listen, I've got this device, completely safe. Can I try it? I asked if I could use it. And most people, because of course they trust me, they know I wouldn't do anything to harm them. And they became my original test clients, patients that I did it on. And it was, parts of it where I could not describe how effective it was. There was other parts that it didn't do anything. It didn't change anything. So how do you know what's getting better and what's not? Well, I learned that in order to heal somebody with a laser light device, the light has to reach the tissue. You know, there's tissue that's been damaged, whether it's a ligament that's been ruptured, or there's a bruise in the muscle, or there's a cut deep inside that's healing. If the light doesn't reach the tissue, it can't do its repair job. And the way light repairs things is by stimulating mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are the energy powerhouses within every cell. We have mitochondria, and the food you eat is turned into glucose, which is blood sugar, and that blood sugar then goes into the cells, and the mitochondria use the glucose to function and to heal the tissue, to make it work. Well, light can go beyond glucose. It passes through the tissue because it's light. It doesn't get stopped by the tissue. And those photons, those packets of energy from the light, the mitochondria absorb those photons, and those mitochondria utilize it as an energy, and it starts producing ATP, which is the currency of life. It's ATP, adenine triphosphate. And as a result of that, the tissue starts to heal. And healing means less pain, reduces the inflammation, and eventually regrowing new, better, stronger tissue. Who would have thought holding that light could do that? I had no idea about this. So I'll give you a quick story. And believe me when I tell you this is the truth. All right. I'm in my office. I had this handheld flashlight, this laser, for about maybe 3 weeks. And I'm getting some results, but nothing that I would warrant that I would even think of charging somebody for. And this one older gentleman came in. He was in his 80s, and he came in with a severe torticollis, which is a stiff neck. And I mean, he'd had this stiff neck for over a year and a half. And I talked to him about his history, and he said that he was scheduled to have both of his knees replaced at the same time. I don't know who would do that, but that's the way they scheduled him, was to do both of his knee replacements. He was healthy, except for the arthritic knees. And right before they did the knee procedure, before they admitted him, he developed a really, really painful stiff neck. Now, if you've ever had a stiff neck, they're really painful. And literally you have to hold your head up like this. When you go to get up, you got to hold your head up, because if it falls back, it gives you a sharp jolt of pain. It's called rust sign. And he had a positive rust sign, a positive minor sign. I mean, and he came into the office. So as a chiropractor, I learned a lot what to do with stiff necks. My father taught me what to do. I've had a lot of experience with it. And you never, ever twist somebody's neck, by the way. You're not going to crack that thing straight. It's not going to happen. So you would do some gentle, maybe some gentle traction, with your hands, nothing severe. But what usually helps is if you lay somebody on their stomach, kind of like Superman would fly over the end of a bench where their arms and head are kind of hanging down. They can do that without any problem. And then you would make a bilateral thenar contact at T2, 3, and 4, and you make adjustment between their shoulder blades. And when that area moves, oftentimes it releases the stiff neck. So I tried, moved a little bit, no relief. Had him come back, put some ice on him, gave him some other treatments. I bounced back and forth from doing his middle back to doing a little stretching to trying to do some trigger points to try to loosen it up for close to a week and a half. He was not getting better. I mean, he was just, I give him a lot of credit, because I don't know if I would have come back, because every time I did it, it hurt. So I was like, I didn't know what to do. And he comes in again, and I'm like, I got this microlight, this ML830 in my hand, this flashlight. I look at him, I says, you know what, his name is Mr. Brill. I said, Mr. Brill, I've got this new device, and it's a cold laser. It heals tissue, reduces inflammation. Would you have a problem if I tried it on your neck? You know, it won't hurt you. He's like, whatever you want to do, doc, do it. So sat him in a chair, and this little flashlight, it looked like a flashlight, but it had the energy came out of the end of it. And what I did was I picked 2 spots just under his skull, one on the right and one under the left. And then I picked 2 spots below that, about midway at C3, C4, and I put 2 more spots at the base of C6, kind of in his trap muscle. And each spot I treated it for 1.5 minutes. So beep, 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 turned it, beep, 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 turned it, did it to the other side, all 6 spots. Nothing really was dramatic from it. He didn't notice much change at all. I didn't want to do anything else, like trying to move his back around, because nothing was working. So I did that. Well, he came back the next day, which is a scheduled appointment, and God be my honest witness, he was 50% improved. I mean, 50% relief, being able to turn his neck. I mean, it was like he was smiling from ear to ear. And you know what he said? Can we do it again? And I said, absolutely. And I did 2 more. I did 1 more treatment. I waited a day. I did a 3rd treatment, and his condition had resolved. Gone. Done. No stiffness, like he never had it. Well, if you've ever been a doctor and you find something that's just remarkable, it'll change your life. I mean, that guy's experience changed my life, because I needed to know, why did this happen? How could that have happened? I just don't understand how this light can create this kind of relief. So what happened was I started being much more confident with it, and helping more people, and targeting specifically helping people. And that's when I found out that it has to do with the light has to reach the tissue. But then I find out that you can do it on one side and it helps the other side too. So there's a lot more to learn, because this can be systemic too. I found out that the red light and the infrared actually feed the blood cells. The blood cells carry the energy in the blood to the different tissues. So you could be treating somebody's knee with the laser, energizing the blood cells with the oxygen capacity and the neurons. And then what happens is it distributes it to the other part of the body, and the other leg gets better. And I'm like, holy cow, what is this stuff? What is this laser? So I buy a more expensive laser. I buy a 9 watt. Now, a 9 watt compared to a cold laser is like having a turbocharged jet plane versus a one that you would, like a rubber band plane. I mean, that high powered laser was effective. And the difference between it was time. You could do more areas in less time because you had more power behind the light, but you still were restricted by light going into tissue. In other words, you can't heat things up. You're not allowed to get things hot. If things get hot, you got to back away, and you have to reassess how you're doing it, the power and how close you're holding it, and other things like that. Because once you get into a 9 watt laser, now you got something that could hurt somebody. And I knew that. I knew it was very, very serious about it. And I didn't let any of my staff hold that 9 watt laser. I was the only one that did it. And things started to change. I mean, more and more people were getting better results, and I was more consistent. I could predict it better than I could before. And, I saw that, there's people that are doing this instead of taking opiates. I mean, why take an OxyContin when you got something that helps? People don't take pills because they want to take pills. They take pills because they don't have any other options. This laser gives an option, which I think is a gift to mankind. It's not a gift to the pharmaceutical companies, because, we could put them out of business if everybody believed it, but I don't think that'll ever happen. So what happened is I I got to know more about this. So I decide to become certified as a laser doctor through the American Board of Laser Surgeons. And I went through all of their work and coursework, and they had very little information on laser therapy. It was all about cutting lasers and ablative lasers and how to do surgery and how to cauterize. But, I had to go through all that to learn how to do it. And I fell just short of taking my exam, by the way. I'm not certified in it, but I was really close. I realized that, knowing how to do surgery with laser isn't going to help me. I needed to learn more about therapeutic and within people that do what I do. And so what happened is I went to a seminar with the North American Low-Level Laser Conference called the NALT Conference. It was in West Palm Beach. I met a very good friend of mine there, Dr. Jerry True, who is a chiropractor in Stewart, who does lasers, as does my brother-in-law, Dr. Widener, and Dr. Todd and Caroline using lasers. Lasers are being used all over the place. But I did this in 2010. So this was 13 years ago. And after watching a presentation by the National Institutes of Health, they did a demonstration where they took a red light cap, like a bathing cap. Now, pay attention to this. This is important. Okay. This was from the Walter Reed Army Hospital, and they had scientists that were giving presentations to the group up on the stage. They had 2 studies of taking soldiers from the Gulf War who had been blown up, basically, traumatic brain injuries and cognitively impaired, and they put a light, they put a bathing cap on top of their head that had red light and near infrared light diodes within the cap, like 20 of them. And what they did is when they put the cap on, before they did it, they asked the soldier some questions. And he was cognitively impaired. He didn't know the answers. He didn't know the date. He didn't know who the president was. There was things that was obvious. He was having mental problems. They put this cap on him. They turned it on. This red light came on. And within about 10 to 15 seconds, this soldier's face his eyes came open. And you could see, he's moving his face and he's like, you could see the lights were coming back on. I mean, he's getting function. They asked him those questions. He wasn't perfect, but he was a lot better. I mean, he answered the questions almost, just mind-blowing. I saw that. And then what they did, they shut the light off, they took the cap off, and he went back into that look. They did it with another soldier, same thing. And then the scientist, the PhD that came up, and here's what they said. They said, we understand that cognitively, when people have dementia or cognitive difficulties, that red light and near infrared light can stimulate and help with function. It can help maintain and sustain their level of cognitive function because it feeds the brain with energy. It's feeding it. Just like blood brings blood to it, but when you have dementia or you have circulatory problems, you're not getting enough blood to your brain. It could be from an injury, an explosion. It could also be from aging. As you get older, your brain atrophies. And what they said is the red light stimulated neuronal function, but they've not been able to get a point where it repairs it. It did not repair it, but it helped a lot. So it was pretty exciting. And by the way, they're using red light and near infrared light belts and helmets and wraps to prevent cognitive decline with photobiomodulation, Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, cognitive decline. They're treating it and getting results using red light and near infrared light lasers wavelengths. It's up and coming. It's huge. You will see more about it if you look in the right places. You won't see it at the hospital. Sorry to say that. So I walk out of this seminar, and my wife was there with me, And it was 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and there was a sign. It said lose 3 to 5 inches, 6 to 9 inches. I'm sorry, 3 to 9 inches of stubborn fat lying on your back, listening to music, the Lapex lipo laser, BCS Pro lipo laser. So now I'm going from like a handheld flashlight helping people, avoid opiates and healing tissue to now they got this machine that says they can get rid of body fat. I look at my wife, I'm like, they just showed us in there that they're freaking regrowing spinal cord injuries. They can repair spinal cord damage. How hard would it be to get rid of a little bit of body fat? And that's the truth. I went to this workshop they had, and they had the machine that I have today, this laser that I'm using, been using now for 13 years, 6,000 people. Well, the day I was introduced to it, it was in August of 2010. I'm sorry, 2009. And they took a guy from the audience. He had a big belly like I used to have. And they measured him with a tape in 3 spots, his belly button an inch below and an inch above. And then one of the doctors from our group came up and verified that the measurement was done correctly. And then he sat down, and what they did was they applied these paddles, these red light paddles. Now these things they look just like a cell phone, like an iPhone with the diodes in it. And there was 2 of them. They were fairly big. And what they did was when you apply it to the skin where the fat is, the maximum amount of fat is released after 8 to 10 minutes. So to leave it on for more than 10 minutes, it doesn't really help. So they set this guy back in the chair, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. In that time frame, they're moving the paddles around. After the 50-minute time frame they remeasured him in his girth. Somebody, the same doctor that verified it, came up and measured it. And this guy lost an inch in circumference in 3 spots. Everywhere that tape was lost an inch. And you could see the difference. It wasn't, it was quite dramatic. And I'm like, oh my God, I put up my hand. I'm like, I got to ask you a question. I said, he didn't eat less, he didn't run around the hotel to burn any calories. He could not have burned the fat. There's no way he didn't have that. It would be impossible. It's just, you just moved it out of the tissue. You moved it around somehow. And the guy's like, well, you're thinking of a wrap, which is dehydration. I said, well, I know what wraps are, but I wasn't thinking of a wrap. But how could you burn the fat when there was no energy, no exercise? You didn't eat less. And that's when the doctor said that what the laser does is it releases the calories, and then over 1 to 2 hours later on, you absorb them and burn them as energy, and they're out of the body after 2 hours. So you get this instant inch loss because the machine opens up the fat and allows you to, and the water leaks out, which you do pee out right away. By the way, a fat cell contains 60% water and 40% fatty acids and glycerol. So the water is released very quickly, and that's why you see a very quick inch loss. However, the doctor said, unlike the wrap, this releases the entire contents, the fatty acids also. And he said that after doing the procedure twice a week for 2 weeks, the inch loss has been maintained for 24 weeks later. In other words, they didn't get the fat back, and they burned it as energy. And we know today that that's exactly what happens, that those calories are released, the fat cells are shrunk, they're smaller, they're not holding as many calories, and your body will absorb and burn 400 to 600 calories following the application of that machine. So it was not a scam, but I didn't really see the value in it. Because it was really expensive. It was like $70,000 for the machine. It looked like as big as a micro. I knew it was just like, this is insane. I'm not going to spend that. Well, things happen. And one of my dear friends of mine who wanted to do it more than I wanted to not buy it, she offered to buy the machine and then finance it for me so she could use it. and and over time I would pay her back because she says she knows it's going to work. And that's exactly what happened. I did not buy the first one. It was bought by a friend whom I paid back in 3 months after getting the machine because it really worked. And to this day, I thank her for her seeing the value that I didn't see because, 13, 14 years later and millions in dollars and helping people and 7,000 people have been through this process. It was really that one person who believed in what I was doing that followed through with it. And I thank her today, So that's what I'm doing there at the Slim Body Laser Spa. If you're interested in finding out more, you can give us a call. My phone number is, you just go to your little phone and hit the Siri part or the Alexa and say, Dr. Tread's Slim Body Laser Spa. And it'll give you my phone number. You don't have to remember my phone number, okay? It's not important. Just remember Tread, T-R-E-D, Dr. Tread, drtred.com, Dr. Tread Laser Body Sculpting, Dr. Tread Slim Body, Dr. Tread Chiropractor, Dr. Tread Stewart. If you put any of those things in your searches, it's going to come up with my information. Yes, my parents gave me a very unique name. And at first I cringed when I was younger, and now I'm so happy that nobody can duplicate it. So it is Dr. Tread's. And you can literally lie on your back, listen to music, and you can lose 3 to 6 to 9 inches measured girth in only 3 to 4 weeks. And just by eating clean, just a normal, healthy, smart nutrition. There's no starvation diets here. There's no injections to endure. There's no body, there's no body shaming. This is just super, 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 super effective at helping people to lose that body fat. Okay. And I'm going to show you something that I have saved here. And let's go to this. Let's add it to the stage. Sorry about that. This keeps timing out. It's cursed, this Canon camera. So, but this is something you might enjoy. My name is Dr. Tread Rissacker, and I'm the owner and the doctor at the Slim Body Laser Spa located here in Stewart. You can lose 3 to 9 inches of stubborn belly fat in only 9 sessions or 3 weeks. Here's some actual pictures of some of my superstar clients. Call today. Take advantage of our Discovery Day special, slimbodylaserspa.com. Hit the contact page. I would love to help you. Okay, here's so that's pretty cool, huh? Let me give you another one because I have this set up, keyed up here. Real quick videos. One of my favorites here is I like this one here is one of my favorites.
Hi, my name is Diane, and I'm here with you. I was driving home from the beach one day, not feeling very well about myself, and I saw a sign, Slim Body Laser Spa, and decided I wanted to check it out and see what it was all about. Now, I had tried a procedure one time to try to freeze fat. I mean, they actually took my skin and clamped it so tight and kept it in that position for a very long time. And it was painful and actually had to stay like that for at least an hour. And afterwards, it was still painful when, the clamps came off. I did not want to do that again. But I still had my problem areas. So I stopped into Slim Body Laser Spa to find out what it was all about. And I was greeted by a wonderful, happy professional staff, very accommodating. I asked questions, and they said, we can answer most of your questions with a little film. So I watched this little film, and it did answer the questions. Where does the fat go? How long does it take? Is there any pain? And of course, you know, will I get results? Well, I was told that I was they would warranty at least 3 inches off my body within a 9 session period. So that's 9 sessions, 3 weeks. I'm in. Okay. So I decided to do it. They walked me into a room. And by the way, let me tell you, it's beautiful. You go in and it smells so good. The air is just so fresh. And you walk into that room and it's dark and they just put you on a table. They put these little paddles on you, put them into place with a strap, and that's it. And what is the sensation? It's a warm sensation is all it is, less than a heating pad on you. It was amazing. Music playing. I was just so relaxed. I felt like a rock star. So I said, wow, all I have to do is lay here and I'm losing inches. And so that was it. I was within 10 minutes done with that. And they came back and shifted them around to put them in different areas for another 10 minutes. And after that, came back in another 10 minutes and shifted them. And it was a 30-minute procedure. After that, you'll dress and you'll go into a little room where they put you on a vibrating machine. This is the favorite. Remember the old-fashioned vibrators that you go on and they move you around? Well, it's a little easier. You're standing on it and it's vibrating and juggling loosening up all of your body fat. And then you can, and then that's part of the procedure. So the whole thing took, I'm going to say 30 minutes for the slim body laser, and then the 10 minutes on the vibrator. And then as you come back, you can do 20 minutes. So within 3 weeks, 9 sessions, I not only lost 3, I lost 9 and an eighth inches from my midsection. And let me tell you something, it was never going off. I don't care how much I dieted, it was never coming off. I feel so good. I mean, my clothes have no bumps. I mean, it just fits wonderfully. I'm so pleased. Would I recommend this to a friend? Absolutely. It works. Best procedure.
Well, there you go. This next one is actually pretty good too. Pretty good, really good. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the Slim Body Laser Spa. Revolutionize your weight loss journey. Introducing laser-powered slimming solutions. Are you tired of fad diets, grueling workouts, and stubborn fat that just won't budge? It is time to experience a new era in weight loss, one that combines cutting-edge technology with remarkable results. Say hello to our laser-powered slimming solutions, the game changer you've been waiting for. Imagine a weight loss journey that's not only effective, but also efficient, comfortable, and scientifically advanced. Our revolutionary approach utilizes low-level laser technology to target and shrink fat cells, unveiling a slimmer, sculpted you without invasive procedures or downtime. It is time to embrace a transformation that's as exceptional as you are. Why choose laser-powered slimming solutions? Precision and personalization. Our laser-assisted weight loss services are tailored to your unique body composition and goals. Each session is precision-driven, ensuring that your trouble spots are effectively targeted for maximum results. There's effortless comfort, no needles, no incisions, and no injections to endure. With our non-invasive approach, you can relax and unwind during each session while our advanced lasers work their magic. It's weight loss with a touch of luxury. Accelerated fat reduction. Watch as those stubborn fat pockets vanish. Our low-level laser technology accelerates the natural fat-burning process, giving you faster and more noticeable results than traditional methods. Lasting transformation. Laser-powered slimming solutions not only helps you shed unwanted pounds, but also promotes long-term changes. Witness a newfound confidence as you embrace a healthier lifestyle and a rejuvenated self-image. There is zero downtime. Bid farewell to recovery periods. Our services are designed to seamlessly fit into your busy life, allowing you to return to your routine right after each session. Scientifically backed. It's backed by research and endorsed by experts. Our laser-assisted weight loss services offer a safe and effective way to achieve your body goals. Embrace the future of weight loss. Choose laser-powered slimming solutions and embark on a journey that's powered by innovation, supported by science, and dedicated to your success. Contact us today to schedule your consultation and discover how laser technology can transform the way you approach weight management. Dr. Tread Slim Body Laser Spa, 2311 Southeast Ocean Boulevard, Stuart, Florida, 772-223-5885. Thanks for watching. All right. So that's going to wrap up our show today. It's the October 9th, 2023. And I want to thank you for tuning in. And please, share this with others. This is a message of hope and healing that realizes that lasers are not just used for cutting and blasting things out of the sky. They're being used for therapeutic to speed up healing, to help with tissue repair, and also to help get rid of stubborn fat so you can look better and feel better and hopefully live longer. Okay. It's called the Slim Body Laser Spa, and we're located in Stuart on East Ocean Boulevard. That's right across the street from the Fresh Market. The phone number is 772-223-5885, and we will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.